Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core studio. Welcome to the show. Alright, so on today's episode, we're going to be talking about some of the most recent commanders that are incredibly popular right now. I'm talking about the tippy top, the cream of the crop, and talking about the tiers that break them down. Talking about which ones are at the top, the S tier, which ones are at the bottom, the D tier. This all within the vacuum of these commanders compared to each other. Let's jump into it. So, out of the recent commanders over the past couple of months, these stand at the top, and I will mention that I did take out some of the ones that in the most recent episode of this, which was months and months and months ago, but talking about Dragon, which is always at the top of the list every single time, could probably get a little annoying. So yeah, like Dragon and like Yuriko aren't in this, okay? That being said, Arabella, Abandoned Doll. Who knew this little creepy uncommon commander would be so popular? It is a very cool concept for a card though. A 1/3 Ledger Artifact Creature Toy for 2 mana in Boros. Whenever it attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent. You gain X life for X the number of creatures you control with power 2 or less. Basically, get a bunch of tiny creatures out. Swing! That's basically all you need to do. You have a go-wide strategy where you get a lot of value out of saying, you know what? We're just going to get a lot of little things out, whether that's like tokens over time or just playing a bunch of low-to-the-ground creatures or like out of nowhere tokens like Secure the Waste, right before your turn. Then you swing and then you say all your opponents, yeah, take a bunch of damage. You probably need ways to protect this though. It does take some setup to get going, and believe me, there are some really heavy hitters in this. I do reserve the right to adjust this as we go. Oh, there are some life gain synergies here, and obviously you can use like damage doublers, damage triplers. Overall though, it's probably, oh goodness gracious, don't kill me out there, Arabella fans, but compared to some of the other ones in here, oh gosh, okay, it's probably D tier compared to, there's just so many powerful commanders in this, okay? I promise we're gonna get to some that are more powerful than this. I do reserve the right. It's like D plus, C minus. And again, I'm not saying that it's a bad commander. I am not, okay? All right, don't come at me in the comments with that, all right? I'm not saying it's a bad commander. I'm saying that again, in the vacuum of this comparison, it's toward the bottom, okay? Next up, Giata, Font of Hope, a 2/2 angel for 2 mana in white, flying vigilance. Each other angel you control enters with additional counter on it for each angel you already control. Tap for a white, spell spell like cast an angel spell. Angels have a good amount of support, not as much as some other tribes. It is getting more and more and more recently. That being said, yes, mono white has made strides over the past couple of years when it comes to its color identity and getting support for things like, ramp and card draw, which are necessities in Commander. So overall, it is a card that probably is on the lower end. Oh my goodness, am I already doing this where I'm like, you know what, Arabella's probably slightly above this, and I'm going to get some Angel fans out there like, you know what, no. Okay, Arabella moving at the C, Giata in the D. I am so sorry, Giata. You are a D tier commander in my opinion. Just compared to some of the other ones in here, yeah, you can get Angels absolutely massive, and you got ways to protect them too, but like if you try to build the board a bit too much and then a board wipe occurs, you're just like, you're done. You're probably done because you don't have the other colors to help you like really dig down in your deck to get more card draw or like have extra resources, so you're probably in trouble. Okay, I'm very sorry. Now I might adjust that, but we shall see. All right, Kinnan, Bonder, Prodigy. All right, I'm just going to skip ahead real quick. I mean, I will talk about the commander, what it does, and why it is an S-tier commander, no questions asked. I mean, this is one that I will not budge on. It is like, the other one's like, okay, like D plus, C minus kind of. All right, I'm going to argue about that. This one's more like, no, it's like an SS plus. Like, this is just like the top tier commander, if I could talk. 2/2 Human Druid for 2 mana in Simic. 2 very powerful colors in Commander. Whenever you tap a non-land permanent for mana, add 1 mana of any type that permanent produce. Gross! By paying 7 mana in total, look at the top 5 cards of your library. Cheat out a non-human creature card from among them, right on the battlefield, the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. This is kind of, it's like Urza adjacent kind of in what it does. Like, it manipulates mana in a way like Urza's like your things can tap for mana. This is like your things that tap for mana tap for extra mana, which allows you to do some pretty broken things like Basalt Monolith. It combos with that. It combos with some other things too, but being able to just be like, oh yeah, cool, you get infinite mana or an absurd amount of mana. And you know what? Also, like Urza, you have a mana dump for it. You can just dump all that mana into this. Could get you like a combo piece for it as well. Yeah, it's kind of like a win condition on a commander, and again, it combos with, again, very powerful cards like Basalt Monolith. You can get infinite mana so easily with this, and it's just overall very, very, very powerful. Definitely an S tier commander. Moving on. Balin the Haymaker, a 4/3 Rabbit Warrior for 3 mana in Naya. Tap 2 untap tokens you control, add 1 mana of any color. Tap 3 untap tokens you control, draw a card. Tap 4 untap tokens you control. Who cares about this part? 3 counters on it, gains trample until turn. Okay, not that you shouldn't care about that part, all right? It is definitely something that could be a win condition for you, most definitely, because, I mean, even just doing that once, you make it have 7 power. It's a 3-shot KO in commander. You do it, I guess, 3 times in total. You give it, what's that math? 13 power, and you give it double strike? Sure, it's a 1-shot KO. It is not hard to turn this into a 1-shot KO. The things that matter on it, though, are, hey, your tokens, again, any tokens. Doesn't have to be creature tokens at all. Food tokens, clue tokens, treasure tokens, anything. You essentially turn them all into mana sources. Permanent mana sources, like half of a mana, essentially. On top of that, you also turn them into a third of a card draw, too. So you literally, once you get things going, can just build up so much value. It's absolutely absurd. Now, where does this rank compared to, again, the other commanders that we've seen so far? It is very powerful, and again, it has access to some really good colors as well, like a good color combination, but I think it is like middle of the road B tier. Like, it is super good. It is a very good commander, but again, is it anywhere near Kinnan? No, it is nowhere near Kinnan, in my opinion. And there are other commanders that it's not quite near either. There's just some really heavy hitters. You gotta believe me. There are some really heavy hitters that are being built right now. And that kind of tends to happen. You know, players like to play with powerful things, some interesting, unique things too. And not that the most powerful ones aren't interesting or unique, but there's like, that's really good. I want to build around that so I can do some really cool, crazy things and probably win. There you go. Moving on. Bellow Bard of the Brambles. Quite the tongue twister there. A 3/3 Raccoon Bard for 3 mana in Gruul. During your turn, each non-equipment artifact and non-aura enchantment you control of mana value 4 or greater is a 4/4 elemental creature and its other types and has indestructible haste. Whenever this creature deals combat to a player, draw a card. So, a good amount of, well, I mean, interesting design space with this one, but also kind of limiting in a way because, again, of that mana value 4 or greater. Meaning that, all right, you got to build a board of some decently expensive artifacts and equipments that are, not equipments, artifacts and enchantments that are not auras or equipment, and then you got to say, all right, let's swing through, let's get some damage, let's draw some cards. Cool. It does take a good amount of setup to get there. Once you get there, there's a lot of value to be had. Again, like, the gap between this and, like, a Kinnan, though, or this and a Balin is immense, though, and I would probably say this one is probably more along the lines of the D tier, and now I'm feeling like Giata might need to move up 1 tier. Maybe 1 tier. Maybe Giata. Giata, should you move up? Okay, we're going to move you up. All right. We're going to move you to the C tier. I'm sorry, Bello. You are on your own down there in the D tier right now. Okay, moving on. Captain America, First Avenger. Okay, I will say again, for those of you out there that haven't heard of the Proxy Project, make sure you check out the link in the description below if I remember in the future to add that there. Their Proxy Promise Project, I guess I should say. Since Wizards is no longer promising and is not going to do universes within versions of mechanically unique cards from Universes Beyond Secret Layers and stuff like that, I am going to be doing it for them. So, in the description below, in the comments below, I'll try to pin one as well. There is a link to a Dropbox with a free download for, sheets that you can print out for Magic IP, quote-unquote, inspired versions of these cards. So regardless, if you don't want to play with Marvel characters, you don't have to. There you go. And they're, not $35 like this one. They are whatever that costs you to print out a sheet of paper, essentially, and cut it up. There you go. Okay. Captain America First Avenger, though, a 4/4 Human Soldier Hero for 3 mana in Jeskai. And actually, someone pointed this out to me that it's kind of annoying that they adjusted the Jeskai, color combination to be red, white, and blue. Yeah, okay, cool. Versus, what Jeskai usually is. I can't remember what the actual numbering of that is, but apparently that's just what they did with this one for flavor. Anyways, pay 3, unattach an equipment from it, deals damage equal to that equipment's mana value, divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. Beginning of combat, on your turn, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to Captain America. Now, this one is interesting because, with certain equipment, you can attach them and they give you a ton of damage, like really high mana value, obviously. And it's free attaching, so on the other end of things, like, you could have something like, like Colossus Hammer, or whatever that one is, where it's like, costs 1 to get out, gives +10/+10, but it costs like 8 to equip, or whatever it is, or 10, or whatever the number is. You can cheat around that too. So this is a commander that is low to the ground, can hit really hard, really quickly, and if you want to start chucking things, you can to take out, again, players, you can take out creatures, you can take out planeswalkers. A lot of damage can be had. It's got some good colors to work with it. It is pretty specific in what it wants to do. Maybe I'm undervaluing it right now, but I do think this one is toward the bottom, so I'm just going to throw it there. Maybe it is C tier, but I'm going to throw it in the D tier right now, and we shall adjust at some point, potentially. Again, it is only one equipment for free versus like, oh gosh, what's the commander, Sir Gwyn? But it's just like, hey, any equipment you want, just chuck it. All right, not chuck it, but you attach it so that you can just swing through really quickly, all right? And I know that one cost twice as much to get out, but still... yeah, okay. All right, we shall see. Moving on, the Jolly Balloon Man. Gross! All right, a 1/4 human clown with haste. Gross! For 3 mana and Boros. Pay 1, tap, create a token's copy of another target creature you control, except a 1/1 red balloon creature token. Creature in addition to other colors and types. Has flying and haste. Sacrifice, begin next end step, activate, only say sorcery. Here's the thing. If you're playing this commander, I am not going to believe you when you tell me you're not going to combo with it. Unless you literally show me your deck ahead of time and say, look, there are no combos in this. And I'm like, yeah, I don't see a Village Bellringer in here. Because like 88% or whatever of these decks with Jolly Blue Man have Village Bellringer. And it's so easy to combo, it's ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous. There's other ways to do it too. But basically, yeah, most people are gonna be like, okay, cool, yeah, haha, I got the infinite combo, I win. This is a very, very comboable card. It can also just do very powerful things, even if you're not comboing. Like, sure, it's only a 1/1. Cool, all right, Flying Haste, who cares about that really all that much? What matters really is, for the most part of this one, it's like, okay, I can use and abuse ETBs incredibly easily. Because all I need to do is be like, oh, okay, cool, a Sun Titan. All right, I'll copy it for 1 mana. Awesome. I get something back with my Sun Titan ETB trigger, and then also an attack trigger, which I guess then does matter with the flying and haste. So there you go. So extra value there from attack triggers, extra value from ETBs, also LTBs. Get a lot of absurd value out of this, or again, yeah, just combo. Because of that combo potential and just how easy it is to do, I guess I should say like Village Bellringer plus literally any mana dork. Literally any mana dork. And if you've got a mana dork, or multiple mana dorks that can tap for more than 1 in total, you have infinite mana too. So again, this is like not Kinnan level of combo or craziness, but like still incredibly powerful. And the fact that this has haste means that you don't even have to get this out until you're actually ready to go off and win. So you're just like, oh, okay, I'm set up. All right, Jolly Balloon Man, come over here and do what you're gonna do. Yeah, creepy clown invited to the party. All right, moving on. Wolverine, best there is. Again, proxy promise down in the description below if you need the link to the, magic-inspired version of this one. That is not $27. All right, a 2/2 Mutant Berserker hero for 3 mana in Gruul. Double damage Wolverine would deal. Again, if each end step of Wolverine dealt damage to another creature this turn, put a counter on him, and then by paying 2 mana until you regenerate Wolverine. This is a card that, it can build up its damage incredibly quickly. Yeah, it's one that's like, all right, double all damage that it would deal. That is not the same thing as double strike. So like, there's other things too, but basically, again, like, you throw double strike on this, and all of a sudden, this is dealing 8 damage. Literally just any kind of a double strike effect, like what Blood Mist or whatever the one is. Like, there's a couple of different just like enchantments out there. They're just like, yeah, this creature or my entire team get double strike. Cool. All right, you get that in play, and this is like, all right, I'm dealing 8 damage. Gross. On top of that, of course, I can be regenerated, which is a great way to protect me. And on top of that, if I take out creatures, I get counters. So yeah, if you have any lure effects, that's great as well. And on top of that, if you use any other damage doubling effects or damage tripling effects, just like, it's pretty absurd how quickly this can add up. Like Fire Emancipation plus this is what, like 12 damage for a 2/2, and if you have any pump effects, it's like, yeah, pretty absurd. So literally just like, you just need, barely any pump effect to make this hit for a one-shot KO. You put like a Loxodon and Warhammer on this, plus a double strike effect, and you're hitting for what, 20? And you're gaining life? So yeah, this is pretty absurd in how quickly it can go. That being said, it is still a Voltron commander in a way, and because of that, it's kind of more limited than... you can go really, really quick with it. You can go really, really, really quick with it. Oh, goodness. All right, am I going to put this above Captain America? I might. Okay, we're going to put you on the C tier, all right? This is just quite quick in how it can do it. You literally just get it out, and then next turn you, like, Giant Growth. You could even just, like, you could literally do, like, combat trick effects, too. Like, Giant Growth, and you're like, okay, you're probably gone. Giant Growth and a double strike, basically, kind of effect. You could take out an opponent really, really quickly. Okay, so let's go with the C tier for now. All right, Amatu, Veil, Piercer, a 2/4 human wizard for 4 mana and Esper. Hit every upkeep, Surveil 2. Each enchantment card in your hand has Miracle. Its Miracle cost reduced it's equal to its mana cost reduced by 4. Okay, so this is a very cool commander. It's one of my favorite designs of this year. It's just a very, very well done design. Giving your enchantments Miracle, I mean, if you're a newer player, you might not realize just kind of, it's nice. The cost reduction is amazing, yes, but also it does change up your timing restrictions in a way, because if on an opponent's turn, you draw a card, and that card is the first card you drew and it's an enchantment, now you get to cast that. You can cast it. You break timing restrictions with it. You're just like, oh yeah, cool. All right, this enchantment that would cost 6 now just costs 2, and I get to cast it right now. So you're basically getting extra, I mean, card advantage in a way, or extra, like, I mean, you're kind of like Vidalcan Auraing things with also like 4 mana off every single one of your spells if you're doing 1 for each trip around the table, or sorry, 1 for each turn for each trip around the table. So that's 4 spells you're casting. Essentially 3 of them breaking timing restrictions, and essentially also with that too, yeah, I mean 16 total mana reduced. It's an Enchantress commander, you can do a lot of value with it, and of course that Surveil is nice as well. I'd say overall, it's probably more of a middle of the road commander. Oh, is it even there though? It's probably like, I don't know if it's on Balin's level actually though. It's probably like a B minus C plus probably. It's probably like, it's like right here. It's like right here. Balin, maybe I move Balin up to, Jolly Balloon Man. That'll make me feel a little bit better. And then there we go. Amatu there. Okay, for now, we're going to go with that for now, okay? I could be very wrong on this, and I might adjust in the future because we do have some other heavy hitters coming up, okay? That not necessarily being Arcades the Strategist, which is a cool commander, all right? It's a very cool commander. One of my first deck techs on the channel, I believe. One of like the first 20 or so? I don't know. Anyways, a 3/5 Elder Dragon with Flying and Vigilance for 4 mana. That was a long time ago. In Bant. Whenever a creature defender enters the battlefield under control, draw a card. Each creature controlled defender assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power to attack the defender. Basically a Walls deck. This is a Walls deck commander. Gives you a lot of value from those defender creatures coming into play. You are limited to a specific kind of creature with this, though. So, again, it is one that gives you a ton of value in, like, I mean, number one, just like, again, the card advantage out of this is insane because, of course, you are in 2 colors that have great blink effects and some mass blink effects, especially in white as well. So it's like, okay, I get my defenders out, which are typically pretty cheap and low to the ground. You're like, okay, I blink them. I draw a bunch of cards. Yay! And then also, of course, like you have like really cheap creatures. That's like, oh, okay, it cost me 2 mana and it's a 0/6. Okay, but now it's a 6/6 basically. So yeah, there's a good amount of value to be had with this one. Oh my goodness, I feel like I'm bottom heavy in this tier list, but like I think I think it's a C tier commander. I think it's a good commander. It is probably one that's not, again, it's a good commander, takes a little bit of time to build up, but again, I think the main thing that holds this back, and again, gives you a lot of value, is it's just like such a specific type of creature that you are looking for this commander. I mean, literally creatures with defender. We don't get too many of those anymore. Like, we never got too many of those, like, all the time. Like, throughout the years of Magic, sure, we got a decent amount, but, like, your pool is pretty limited. One pool that is not limited that much, though, is Krenko Mob Boss. Oh, my goodness. Okay, a 3/3 Goblin Warrior for 4 mana in red. Tap, create X1/1 Goblin creature tokens or X number of goblins you control. This is a it's a very well-supported tribe, okay? Goblins are really, really, really supported, all right? They just are. Being able to just get this in play and then tap and make an absurd amount of goblins, and then tap and make an absurd amount of goblins, you're just doubling up your goblins every single time. Now, when it comes to using and abusing its effect, yeah, you can just get a bunch of goblins in play and utilize it, absolutely. But one way to really get a lot of value out of it, though, and some players don't actually maybe either know about this or like lean into it as much as they maybe should, threaten effects. Threaten effects that don't specify like a creature an opponent controls. Wizards, stop making those, okay? Stop being specific. Stop taking away my fun, all right? Let me threaten my own creatures. So, you can threaten your Krenko Mob Boss. It's gonna untap. Threaten is just like gain control of a creature up turn, gains haste, untap it. All you care about is literally untapping it. But the thing is, for like typical threaten effects, they're 3 mana essentially. For 3 mana, you double up your entire army every single time. So yeah, if you are able to do that, yeah, you are just being like, okay, yeah, I'm basically casting what's like the second harvest, essentially, double up your tokens. It's basically that, again. You can make an absurd amount of goblins very quickly. If you have like impact tremors or something like that in play, or Perforos, you can just win right away with it. It is a very well-supported tribe. It is still mono-colored, and I would say red is definitely one of the weaker colors for mono in Commander. Goblins are supported, though. Oh, goodness gracious. We're going to go with a C tier commander for now. Moving on. Lathril, Blade of the Elves. So Lathril is yet another commander that is, again, in a tribe that is very, very, very well supported. A 2/3 Elf Noble for 4 mana in Golgari. Menace. Deals combination to player. Create that many 1/1 green Elf Warrior creature tokens. Tap 10 untapped elves you control. Each opponent loses 10 life. You gain 10 life. So it is a commander that, again, does help you out in an aspect. Not quite as much as, say, Krenko does, though obviously you can make a ton. Like if you, again, pump this a ton, and again, it does have Menace, so it's harder to block, then you can make an absurd amount of elves. Awesome. Awesome. But Krenko's more like, I'm just sitting back here. Tap, make tokens. Tap, make tokens. Tap, make tokens. This isn't as easily usable and abusable. That being said, it can be a good finisher, obviously, for you as well. Once you've flooded the board, you can just drain your opponents, and there are certain tap effects that you can take advantage of in green, Seeker of Skybreak, and like Vitalize type effects as well. So yeah, you've got access to those versus Krenko really doesn't outside of threat effects. That being said, yeah, I mean, again, it is a tribal commander, so it's a little more on the rails kind of in what you're building, but again, it is incredibly supported. I mean, elves are more supported than goblins, I would say. I mean, maybe that's, maybe not. They're both around the same supported, but you do have an extra color for this one as well. It's probably close, and I'm probably just trying to convince myself to add another one into the B tier, but I think this is probably a C tier. I don't think, maybe. You know what? We're going to the B tier. Oh, I'm offending all the Krenko fans out there. They're like, no, elves, no, it's goblins, it's goblins. They're right there with each other, and maybe it is like it's like a B minus C plus. I think it's like a B minus C plus. It's like right there. We're just gonna move on. We're gonna move on, and maybe we'll change it. Okay. Next up, Ms. Bumbleflower. Okay, here's the thing with this one. This is interesting. Okay, a 1/5 Rabid Citizen with Vigilance for 4 mana in Bant. Whenever you cast a spell, target opponent draws a card. Put a counter on target creature. Gains flying until end turn. If the second time this ability resolved this turn, draw 2 cards. Okay, so my perspective on these tiers, right, is coming from a perspective of a player who plays casual, but like higher power casual. So, you know, the joke of whatever, I'm playing a 7, I'm playing an 8, whatever. Okay, right? It's not CEDH, it's below that, but still, like, certain combos are allowed for my play group. It's like, oh yeah, cool, you got like 3 cards total combo, whatever. All right, got it, cool. This is a commander that, like, is incredibly group huggy on its face, but it is one where it's like, all right, if you just build all combos around this, yeah, I mean, you're gonna win. So like, you just build a bunch of combos, you just cast something an infinite number of times, or, you know, a certain amount of times, you're forcing opponents to draw, and therefore they lose the game. It takes a good amount of setup to do so, though. Like, you need to like include a decent amount of combo pieces and tutors or whatever to get those. You're not in black, so you don't have like the best tutors. You do have some tutors, obviously, in these colors. It is like one that does take some setup, like, and I mean, outside, it's not really helping you that much. I mean, it is helping you a little bit, right? When it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I can draw 2 cards if I keep casting spells. Sure. All right. That helps you dig down, but you're also helping your opponents at the same time. Until you get to that point where you just win, it's kind of detrimental to you in some ways. In some ways. Okay. Some ways. Not always. I'd say overall, it's probably a D tier commander, though, compared to all the rest of these. Okay. It's probably down there. I am so sorry, Ms. Bumbleflower. You have a lot of power potential, but not quite. Okay. Moving on. Stormforce of Nature. Okay, gross. Okay, again, Proxy Promise, reminder, description below. If you don't want to utilize a Marvel card, cool, use a Magic-inspired card that is not $41. All right, 3/4 Mutant Hero for 4 mana, in Team or Flying Vigilance. Whenever Storm deals coverage to player, the next in-store spell you cast turn has Storm. This is probably, I mean, okay, again, Kinnan is kind of, in my opinion, kind of just like, Kinnan's like an S+, but this is an S. This is an S tier commander. This is like, yeah, okay, you hit once, you probably win. Kind of a commander. You literally just get through, you hit once, and you probably just won. That being said, you don't even need to just hit once. You're like, okay, I hit, but also I have given it double strike, so I get that trigger twice, meaning the next spell I cast this turn has Storm twice. So essentially, you are just literally going like, oh, okay, I'll cast a couple spells in my turn, maybe even one that gives Storm double strike, and then all of a sudden I hit. Now my next spell is Storm twice, and I cast that, and I win the game. Because it's probably like extra combats. It's probably like extra turn spells. Yeah, literally, if you just like Storm with 1 extra turn spell, you win the game. You just win the game. If you get 5 extra turns, 6 extra turns, whatever it is, you win the game. Because then all your extra turns, you're just doing like, oh, okay, I hit you again. Storm off with this other spell. Storm with this other spell. Storm with the, yeah. This is kind of like Narset-ish. This is kind of like Narset and Light Master-ish, like lower to the ground. And like, it's in a different build, obviously, but like, yeah, if you cast extra combat, you cast extra turn spells, you just win. That's just all there is to it. So it's an S tier commander. Moving on. Velgavoth, Hero of Souls, a 4/4 Elder Demon flying for 4 mana and Rakdos. Ward, pay 2 life. Whenever opponent loses life for the first time during each of their turns, put a counter on it and draw a card. Okay, so this one is one where it's like, all right, you just need like some minimal setup to get this going. It does require setup to do so, though. It gives you a good amount of value throughout the game, but it's not really... Okay, I mean, it is doing stuff for you outside of just drawing you cards. But, yeah, you just have like a Sulfuric Vortex type of card, right? Essentially to guarantee opponents losing life or taking damage or whatever on their turns. So with each trip around the table, opponent loses life for the first time in each of their turns. You're drawing 3 cards in total. On top of that, you're getting a counter on this every single time that happens. So you are getting 3 counters on each trip around the table, turning it into a 3-shot KO with just 1 trip around the table. And then eventually, like, you know, double strike, you have that in these colors, obviously. So it's a 2-shot KO, or you get it to 11 power plus, it's a 1-shot KO. It is just kind of like a value card engine for you, though. It does require, like, you know, do you make sure you have those, like, continuous pinging or life loss effects in play? It is kind of just like a value engine that just, like, sits there. It's like, all right, cool. All right. I mean, like, ward, pay 2 life, that's not really all that much protection. Like, players are going to be like, yeah, I'm willing to take that out. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, this is probably like a C minus D plus. We're going to throw it in the C tier. I know a lot of fans out there of Velgavoth. Sorry, everyone out there, but I think it's probably a C tier commander. Compared to the rest of these, there's a lot of good ones here, okay? All right, Zamone, Mystery Unraveler, a 3/3 human wizard for 4 mana in Simic. Whenever a land you control enters Manifest Dread the first time this ability is resolved this turn, otherwise you may turn a permanent you control face up. All right, this is a commander that is pretty powerful, actually. I think just my gut already says probably a B tier commander. It is one that does require some setup, but like, I mean, you could just get lucky too and just hit, like, let's say, like, you literally just get this out and you're like, okay, cool. All right, next turn, Evolving Wilds. Wow, top of the library, Omniscience. Okay, all right. All right, yeah, put that down, face down as a 2/2. Okay, I crack my Evolving Wilds. I go get a forest. I flip over my Omniscience. I probably win. Yeah, literally, you can just like Blightsteel Colossus. There's a lot of things that you can just hit off the top. There's ways to manipulate the top of your library too. It does require some setup, but like once you do, it's like, oh goodness gracious, lots of value to be had there. So yeah, this is one where take Simic in a different direction, and it's quite the spicy commander, and landfall is very easy to use and abuse. Lots of resources, obviously, to help you with that. So yeah, I would say this is like, yeah, take some setup, but once you get there, you can probably get there pretty quick, or you can just get lucky and just win right away. All right, Iron Man, Titan of Innovation, yet another one of those mechanically unique Universes Beyond cards that they're not doing Universes Win for. Thanks again, Wizards. Proxy promise in the comments below, okay? And description below. All right, 4/4 Human Hero, Flying Haste for 5 mana in Is It. Whenever Iron Man attacks, create a treasure token, then you may sacrifice a non-creature artifact. If you do, search life for an artifact card, mana value equal to 1 plus sacrifice artifact's mana value. Put on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Okay. This is one that, in my opinion, is, I mean, pretty scary. Again, it does have haste, so you can do it right away. And it's just on attack. It's not even like, oh, okay, cool, yeah. You got to hit. No, and you already have, like, evasion, so that's fine. But, like, you don't even have to hit. It's just, like, just attack. Okay, cool. So, getting artifacts out is quite easy. I mean, it's the most usable and abusable, non-creature artifacts, I should specify. It's the most usable and abusable card type. So get those out, sacrifice one that you want to sacrifice, and go get like the exact thing that you need that costs 1 extra. So this is basically like pod. You're like pod chaining with artifacts with this commander. Again, it's a commander kind of like I talked about earlier, like the Jolly Balloon Man. You don't need to get this out until you're basically ready to win. You're just like, okay, cool, yeah, okay, I got my thing set up. All right, yeah, I've got my artifact in play that costs 5 or whatever. Cool, all right, I did that. All right, now what I'm going to do is get my commander out, swing, and there you go. That's probably the game because I go tutor out the card that I need to win, and there it is. And of course, you can also, kind of like Storm, use and abuse extra combats as well with this one. It is a very powerful one. I think overall, again, it's a bit more pricey of a commander at 5 mana. It's very good. It's a pod chain commander. I think I'm going to throw it in the B tier, though, overall. I do think so. Okay, I think so. All right, moving on. Kenny. All right, Kenny. Yeah, let's just throw it up the S tier. Okay, Kenny. So Kenny is a disgustingly amazing commander. Number 1 is 5 color. I love 5 color. Hi, Kenny. I haven't played Kenny in quite a long time, but yeah, Kenny is a very powerful commander for a lot of reasons because it has a lot of text. Here we go. A 5/5 human noble for 5 mana that's got every single word in the English language on it. Pay red mana. All creatures gain trample and haste will have turn. Pay 1 in a green, put a counter to our creature. Pay 2 in a white, target player gains 5 life. Pays 3 in a blue, target player draws a card. Pay 4 in a black, put target creature card from a graveyard of the battlefield under its control. Okay, here's the thing. Now, you could use some of these in some kind of a group huggy deck and be like, you know what? I'm here to help everyone. All right, you want to attack right now? All right, I can help you out. Hey, have a red mana. I'll just spend that right there for you. All right, cool. Your creatures gain trample and haste. Go for it. Yay. Oh, your creature over there needs to get a little larger, doesn't it? All right, cool. All right, I'll give a counter on that. Oh, you're low on life. Let me help you out. Hey, have 5 life. You're welcome. I'm so happy I can help you with that. Have a card. You'd like a card, wouldn't you? Would you like 500 cards? Yeah, that's more so what you're going to do, essentially. You're going to be like, you know what? I get infinite mana. I win. That is literally what you do. There's so many ways to get infinite mana. You get infinite mana, you just win. Because all of a sudden you're like, all right, infinite mana, get my commander out. You draw all the cards in your deck. You draw the cards in your deck. You draw the cards in your deck. You lose. That's all you need to do with this commander. And of course, there are certain ways this commander can go infinite very easily, like, I don't know, like this, plus it's like last ability on it, essentially, plus like a cost reducer, plus whatever that golem thing is, whatever you sacrifice, composite golem. There are ways to go infinite just with the abilities on this card, and then also it is a mana sink to just be like, yeah, I win, because I make you draw the cards. And of course, since it is 5 color, you get access to literally everything, so yeah, going infinite in a variety of ways is super easy. It's such a powerful commander. And even if you're not going infinite, literally just getting creatures out of your graveyard again is obnoxiously powerful. So yeah, it's a very good commander. Moving on. Marina Vendrell, 5 colors, yes, please. 3/5, Human Warlock for 5 mana in Wuber. Enters the battlefield with the top 7 cards you library, put all enchantment cards from among them in your hand. Rest of my library, random order. Tap, lock or unlock a door of target room you control active on sorcery. Okay, so here's the thing. Again, I've kind of talked about other commanders so far where it's like, the Arcades is a bit limited because, again, it's like defenders, all right? You really need to, like, you can't just be like, all right, no defenders in the deck. Like, you can't really, I'm sure there's someone has, but, like, you can't build a deck with, like, no defenders for Rixmithies, all right? You need to, I said Rixmithies, I always, Arcades, I always mix those two names up. All right, so you can't just be like, you know, I'm ignoring defenders. With this one, even though there's not that much support for rooms, there are some very good rooms out there, but there's not much support for rooms. You're not like forced into just doing a room deck, because if you do that, it's probably not the most powerful build of this. In fact, in my opinion, it's definitely not. What you should be doing with this commander is kind of like ignoring that last part and being like, okay, it's nice if I have a room that I want to include in the deck. Like, that's a nice value to have. What I care about, though, is using and abusing that ETB. The ETB is very good. Literally, reveal the top 7. Hey, enchantments in your hand. Yeah, that's incredibly powerful. You could hit 7 enchantments. Literally like, oh, okay, cool. ETB draw 7 for a 5 mana commander that, again, is an ETB trigger that does not require a cast. Meaning that you're just like, oh, okay, ETB. Oh, all the enchantments off the top of my library in my hand. Yay for me! Yay for me! Again and again and again and again and again. You're in all 5 colors. You can make a very powerful enchantress deck around this. Where does it end up, though, overall? Oh, goodness. Where does it end up? It is probably like a B+. It's probably like a B+. It's probably not quite to that A tier of Jolly Blue Man combo craziness and Balin, just absolute craziness with tokens. It is around there. Again, like, the room thing is nice, and there are some very good rooms out there that you definitely would want to utilize, but like the most powerful build around this is literally just 5 color enchantress. I get up to 7 cards off the top of my library with my commander every time it ETBs, which I can very easily use and abuse, because of course I've got blink effects because I've got all the colors. 5 colors. Moving on to the last one, an oldie but a, oh, there we go. An oldie but a meanie. I was going to say a goodie, but it's a meanie. Nekusar, the Mind Razor. 2/4 zombie wizard for 3 mana in Grixis. Give each player's draw set, the player draws an additional card. Whenever an opponent draws a card, 1 damage to that player. This is a commander that is absolutely brutal. This is a commander that is like, oh gosh, okay, that's your commander, all right? Well, I know what the game's going to be. It's just going to be you, a bunch of Underworld Dreams type effects that just punish me whenever I draw cards. And also some cards that punish me when I discard cards, and then you wheeling again and 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 again. Yeah, literally just like this commander plus wheels equals you don't know if you're going to have responses to help save yourself. You're not going to be able to have any kind of a plan. You're just like adjusting on the fly every single time because your hand's going to get replaced left, right, and center. And then this commander is just gonna be like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, I don't care about not having a hand or not having a known hand because I've got so many wheels on the deck. I'm just gonna wheel again to something else. So yeah, Nekusar the Mind Razor is brutally effective. Where does it end up? Maybe it's Yeah, it's probably a B tier commander out of all these. So, like, yeah, I think overall I feel pretty good. Maybe I'd move Wolverine down. Yeah, because it's more of a Voltron. Maybe I mean, that one kept coming back in my head. Like, maybe that moves down. I think I feel pretty good about all this overall right now. Like, that top tier, I definitely feel very good about. Again, like, Kennen and Kenny are both probably on a tier above Storm, technically, but, like, she's also incredibly powerful as well. And the gap's not that big. They'll be like, oh yeah, not A tier. Like, she's above Jolly Blue Man, she's above Balin, but like those are kind of on their own. B tier's pretty good. Maybe Lathro goes down slightly. Don't hate me, elf players out there, but maybe she go down slightly. Maybe slightly. Okay, that's I'm gonna get a lot of comments for some elf players out there. They're like, no. Okay, I think I feel pretty good about this overall, though. Yeah, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on all this. Where am I right? Where am I wrong? Out of the most popular new commanders right now, there's a lot of cool ones. There's a lot of cool designs. There's also a lot of power. Again, like, none of these commanders are bad. Again, the D tier commanders, like, I get comments sometimes like that can't be a D tier commander. It's like, well, in comparison to the other, it's just comparing the other ones, okay? It's just literally in a vacuum. These compare to each other. Like, in other lists, they'd be a bit higher, but, you know, when it comes to them being compared to each other, there's a lot of heavy hitters out there, and I feel pretty good about how it ended up right now. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. Make sure you comment below with your thoughts on this one. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.